So welcome back everybody. Happy painting with Lucas Watercolors 1862 to celebrate their 160th anniversary. And today everything is about loose sketching with watercolor paints. We don't need too many colors today. I just use indigo, caput mortem and ultramarine. I've already prepared my palette. This is a pretty good paper I can recommend for sketching, for urban sketching or for just doing small sketches. I'd like to show you some of my previous sketches. I hope you can see them. This is from my favorite town, Marburg in Germany. This too inside a church. Just some smaller sketches. Here I have some bigger ones. It's the same paper, just a different size. Maybe show you this, because this was in the preview pictures before, the White House. Another sketch from Marburg. So today I will sketch a little bit bigger so you can see it better, and I prefer a bigger format too. If you want to see all my sketches, they are available in two books, printed or as an ebook. So, and I have two photos here because I didn't know what I'd like to paint today. So, but I think I decide for this one. This is an old mill close to Marburg, and it has everything in it for an entertaining watercolor sketch, I guess. So I will, like yesterday, I will run this camera on the top here too, and post this demo later on my YouTube channel. The videos from yesterday, they will be available tomorrow on my YouTube channel. They are still rendering on my computer, and I think the upload does take some time too. So, but now let's start. I use almost the same brushes like yesterday for my floral expressive watercolors, and I guess I start with this one and with some ultramarine, pretty watery, because I think this Lucas Watercolor 1862 ultramarine is a really nice paint to sketch, and of course to paint too. But first I try to make a pretty rough sketch of my motif. There was something going wrong. I hope it still works. Sorry, this was my cat, Chico. Thank you, Chico. Okay, but let me see if it still runs. Yeah. So this is a kind of excitement we need sometimes. Okay, let me just continue. I hope the connection is still okay. So, like I said, first of all, I tried to make a pretty rough sketch of the motif. Just a few outlines, not too much. And I recommend to do this pretty quick, because it's just a sketch, not the final watercolor. In my workshops we do a practice on smaller paper, and then the task is to get your motif sketched between 5 and 2 minutes. It depends on, so mostly we start with 5 minutes and then we go to 2 minutes in the following sketches, but in this size it takes a little bit longer. I hope you brought some time with you. So it's the same like in the floral paintings yesterday. I just try to get a painting feeling for my motive, and in the sketch I try to find out what interests me. So tomorrow I will paint this motive then in full color for you. Okay, now we suggest a little bit of this woodworks here. Even there I'm not too accurate. I just want to bring the impression of this building to my paper. So it's always good to know a little bit about perspective, but this would lead too far in this short time. And there are so many resources on the World Wide Web to learn more about perspective. Here we have some too. And I always decide, in most cases, for a pretty easy light sourcing. So the light will come from here. That means that some areas will be in the shade. And to suggest this, I take now the flat brush with the same color. And then I suggest the shadows with a few brush strokes. And of course here's a pond or something like that, some water, and I try to suggest the reflection here too, just a little bit. So easy way to paint reflections on water is if you just look where are these lines, and then you just put them down here too. So now here are some trees in the motif, and this is a nice chance to have some contrast between the roof of the building and the background. So we can use all brushes, and I like my sketches to be at least expressive as the later watercolor, because a sketch it can stand for itself alone, but so for me it's just getting familiar with my motif. And then I can decide while I paint what is interesting for me in the motif, and yeah, how the painting should maybe look like. But there should always be some, for me, that's my opinion, but I still want to have a lot of opportunities to change my mind about colors and paintings and elements in my paintings. Because watercolor really is, for me, is mostly artistic freedom. So far I've only used ultramarine, but in a moment I'm going to use indigo and caput mortem too, just to make it look more interesting and to bring in some darker tones here and there. Well, something is a little bit crazy today. Maybe because it's so warm. It's really hot today and humid, and yeah, so this is how it looks so far. And you see this was going pretty quick. So putting it back. And I think I already start to use some indigo. I like indigo pretty much because it is a nice color. So it's not completely black. It has a little bit of blue in it. And you can put in some nice dark accents to your paintwork there. So this So please keep in mind to watch the video from this camera up here later, because I think it's better than to see it from the top, but unfortunately this wasn't possible for the live video. But in my Zoom workshops, of course, it is then from seeing from the top. I suggest this will work here too a little bit in the reflection. I'm sorry when it takes a little bit to find the words today, but really it's so hot today. I even thought maybe I can do this demo today, but of course just like to paint a little bit for you anyway. So I don't care too much about the details, it's more about the impression of the whole thing, and I think I want more contrast here with the dark side of the house. And always keep in mind that painting is freedom. It's not about, in my opinion, it's not about painting your reference photo one-to-one. I try to interpret it my way. And for me this is much more fun than just looking on the reference all the time. So here I suggest a few trees. I think I did say it yesterday, try to be as loose with the dark colors, exactly like with the brighter colors, because in other case it won't look too good then, because everything has to fit together in a watercolor. So I think some more ultramarine would be nice here. And as in my floral watercolors, I tried to use all the opportunities the brushes give me. This means using the small side, some brighter loose brush strokes. And sometimes it's just good to go through the wet paint with a almost dry brush. This way you can achieve nice texture on the paper. Of course, depending on the paper, this is a little bit rough. It's the cheap paper I used yesterday. And my trees are always a good object to bring in my personal expressive style, because I can use, it's almost like my handwriting. So I hope I can take it up again in a minute to show you how it looks so far. Maybe I just have a try. It might run down a little bit, but it doesn't matter. So this is how we are now. So maybe I use some caput mortem now. I'm not using this for too long, but I found that this is a wonderful Very unique paint color. Not really brown, not really red. I had some sprinkles here to suggest some leaves in the trees. Sometimes I take off a little bit of paint again. Okay, now add some details here. It's not really details, it's more suggesting details. And I want to bring in a little stereo. And I think it would be nice to suggest a few bushes and plants with the caput mortar. So in doing these value sketches, you get a pretty good idea about lights and darks in your later watercolor. I think I will bring in a little bit of ultramarine to the sky. Not too heavy, but this might add a little bit of drama, and like I told you before, I love drama in my paintings. So a good way to practice this sketching technique is to use Google Street View. Just go wherever you want to, find a nice spot, and then just try to sketch it. To be honest, I did this over and over, and I still do it because when I don't practice myself, I get rusty again. And, being rusty and feeling rusty is really bad for loose watercolor. It's a little bit like sports. And after a full day of painting, I feel like I have been going to the gym or something like that, because you can see that I move pretty much. So just one more tip, when you look at your motif, doesn't matter if it's in real or just on a photograph or wherever, just try to squint your eyes, and then you will see that you only can realize the main parts. So watercolor painting, in my opinion is always about reducing and reinterpreting. And this is another good tip. I think that helps. Okay. Some more Caput Mortem here. I think I put some in here in this side building. And probably for the woodworks in the house too. I have to look a little bit because it should have at least an impression of the motif. I don't copy this exactly, but at least it should look like these half timber. I think we can bring in some of the Caput Mortem here too. Maybe it would be nice to have some of it in the water face. Oops, there was some Prussian green, but why not? Maybe I take some more of it now that it's here. So now I take my brush and this towel and I put off some of the paint. So this should be done as loose as a painting. Just take off. Again, the brushes should always dance over the paper. It's not about painting furniture. You can also mix Caput Mortem with the ultramarine. And now I suggest here some shadow of the chimneys. And here this roof should be a little bit dark too. And I also use my fingernails or the back of the brush. think I want it a little bit darker here. Try to put in a few details, just like the windows. I only want to give an idea of the windows. Here. Now we have a fence here. We can also add a few windows here at the dark side of the house. So just suggesting. With some colored mortar, I try to bring in a little bit of structure to the roof, just with a few lines. Suggesting a few plants here. Something. So like I said yesterday, usually I like to hear music while I'm playing, because it makes me even paint more loose then. found out that for a demo or workshop like this, it's better without music. Because when I have the music on, it should have some volume. Okay, I think we almost finished. Maybe a little bit more detail here, just a tiny little bit. Some more darkness down here. And a little bit more here. I think I will post this photo for you too, so if you like, you can practice this a little bit and just compare with mine. And tomorrow we are going to paint this motif in color. Oops. So maybe it would be nice to have this branch up there. Yes, I think this is good. Some reflection from these trees. Yeah, this should be enough for today. So if you like to paint with me tomorrow, I recommend try to practice this a little bit. The reference photo and my sketch will be available maybe 20 minutes or so. Okay, it might run a little bit again, but I just like to show you what I did during the last half hour. So this is a pretty good sketch for me to take it as a reference for another painting then. So I hope you did enjoy. Again, I'd like to thank Lucas Paints for their support and for 160 years of good paints for us artists. Yeah, happy painting everybody. I hope you did like it. I'm happy about your comments or likes or whatever. And the video from the top will be available probably in 2 days on my YouTube channel. See you, happy painting. Thank you, bye bye.